All right, come on in, y'all. Let's talk about this EIDL. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, Diamond. How you doing, love? Thank you for coming on. Come on in. Let's see, get on Facebook. I wonder, can I do it on Facebook? Let's see. Hold tight. You know I am not the best at this new technology. Okay, create a live. I'm trying to do it from my laptop. So I got my cell phone up here, my laptop down here. Oh, you can do it from streaming software. That's pretty cool. I just did this before. Oh my goodness. Oh, we know how to work on that proper Christmas break. All right. Let me see what I can do here. Something to start sending it. Just share it with people. Maybe that'll. Come on in. Come on in this house. Come on in. Let's see. Now I'm trying to make sure that I adjust this thing so this phone won't fall. All right. Can you hear me okay? I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay. Cool deal. All right. So, good evening. It is 7:04, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Sonia Jones with GIP Financials. I am the Mr. Miyagi of money, and the mission of GIP Financials is to set up your business or your nonprofit organization for the financial life that you desire. Okay, and my gifting with GIP Financials is for startup businesses and nonprofit organizations. My task is to make sure that all startup businesses and nonprofits have the sound financial fundamentals to ensure that you get the financing that you need to take your business to scale, to pay your employees well and consistently, all that good stuff. So today we're going to talk about the EIDL loan because the applications will close December 31st. And so I want to make sure that you guys had ample time to take a look at the EIDL FAQs. If you are on my email list, then you got the SBA EIDL frequently asked questions document in the email this afternoon. If you're not on my email list, what are you waiting for? You need to get on there. If you will go to the link in my bio, you tap on GIP Financials, and you tap the link, there will be a free business training on the 3 mistakes that small businesses make in their finances. You put your email address in there, and from there, you will get access to every email that I send to my exclusive email list group. And what do you get for that? Most of the time, I am sending information directly from the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and the IRS when it comes to small business taxes and so forth, and for nonprofits as well. If there's anything that I see in the news feed that I know is going to be beneficial for my email list, I shoot it out. And also, of course, I provide bookkeeping services, financial information, guidance, advice, as well as loan and grant assistance. So in those regards, I mean, we run the full gamut. And my apprentice is on here as well, Miss Diamond David. And she has been a blessing, huge blessing to me and our team. We're growing. We're growing, right? And so with that being said, I will be offering courses starting in January with Budget Me Please. So that's pretty much for individuals. I've had a lot of feedback from people asking me, Sonia, can you help me with my budget? This, that, and the third. So I want to make sure I did a class for that. And that is going to be on January the 8th. And I did a Black Friday sale for that course for $25, but now it is on sale for $47. And I'll make sure that you guys have access to the link. Make sure that you join my email list, though, and you'll get that information. As well as my first business tax return. I know it sounds very Fisher Price, but that's the best way, I think, to put it, because as a small business person, one, you have to understand which entity you file under. Most of my clients are either sole proprietors or single member LLCs, which from a tax perspective will file as a sole proprietor under the Schedule C tax form. And so with that being said, I want to give a class on how to properly fill out that Schedule C and the things that you need to be aware of in order to take all of your business expenses and income, make sure you categorize it correctly, and fill out your Schedule C form the proper way. Okay, so that's going to be on January the 15th, and that cost is $47 as well. Also, there will be an 8-week course, and this is going to be, it's a little meatier, but it's definitely for either small business owners who kind of want to get the gist of small business finance, or if you run a business and your business finances and managing that is not your cup of tea, and you want to delegate that task to another employee, a manager, or in-house bookkeeper or whatnot, then you can take the course Bookkeeping Basics for Small Businesses, and that starts on January the 9th. And I have more information for that course as well given to my email list. All right, so I see I've got, it looks like Karen. Hey Karen, I appreciate you coming on. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, you guys, with the EIDL. And if you have access to my email list, I sent you guys, this is straight from the SBA. It's the frequently asked questions from the EIDL loan. So I'm going straight off of this document. And so I have particular things that I want to highlight here that's going to give you the most bang for your buck. Okay. And of course, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to send me a comment in the Instagram live. Okay. So, hey, Shawandra, come on in. All right. So we got all of the housekeeping stuff out of the way. But of course, for legal purposes, I have to disclose that this Instagram live is for educational purposes only. Okay. I'm not a CPA. So any information that I provide, feel free that you run this information by a certified public accountant, or certified tax preparer, all of that good stuff. Okay? All right. So with that being said, if you have your frequently asked questions for the EIDL, let's go to page 2. You know I'm a teacher, and that's how I roll. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, what in the world is this thing called the EIDL? And the EIDL, and I'm reading verbatim here, was provided by the SBA, and the Congress gave SBA authority to make low interest, fixed rate, long-term loans to help small businesses and other entities overcome the effects of the pandemic by providing borrowers with working capital to meet ordinary and necessary operating expenses. Okay, and if you remember, at the beginning of the pandemic in March 2020, under the Trump administration, there were two particular, what you could say, assistance packages that the government provided for small business. One is the Paycheck Protection Program, which is the product that offered forgivable funding, as well as the EIDL. Now, if you remember, at the beginning of the EIDL, they also offered one-time grants, I believe, ranging from $1,000 to like $10,000. And that, man, the folks, man, sucked that stuff dry. Like within probably a week or so. It was just bananas. And so because of that, and of course, a whole lot of rules weren't established, the government was just trying to make sure to put money back in the economy. And it, like I said, wasn't a whole lot of expectations. So of course, you know, people were just filling out stuff. There were people who took advantage of that in the realm of, let me help you file this form for like exorbitant amounts of money. And because of that, the Trump administration had to come out with a second wave, I guess like updated expectations to ensure that, one, that the money was being issued out with more equity, because a lot of the mom and pops were not getting access to that funding. It was particularly like the bigger organizations and, you know, bigger businesses that already had relationships with their banks. To be honest, businesses that probably did not need the loans. I'm pretty sure you probably remember seeing a lot of those businesses and organizations in the news. So with that being said, the second round, there were not only all the advances pretty much were wiped out, but then later on the SBA came with two more. Instead of calling them grants, they call them advances, the targeted and the supplemental advance. But we're going to talk about those a little bit later. Okay. And so, who is eligible for the EIDL? I'm going to page 6 of the FAQ. So, who is eligible for the EIDL? So, first thing is, the eligibility has to be based on citizenship, and as well as eligibility based on the size of your business. So a couple of things that I highlighted here. One is that applicants must be physically located in the United States. I'm reading under the section, am I eligible? You must be physically located in the U.S. and must have suffered working capital losses due to the pandemic. Now, talking about immigration status. For for-profit businesses other than sole proprietorship, so this would be like your LLCs. Most of you guys that are listening to the IG Live will be considered probably an LLC. You have to have a valid IRS issued tax identification number. And that's going to be part of your fundamentals. If you're thinking about starting a business, the first thing you got to do, regardless of your entity type, go to the IRS.gov and apply for an EIN, regardless of your business, sole proprietor, LLC, what have you. Okay, because what you want to make sure that you do is separate the business from yourself. It's free. You do not have to pay any money to get an EIDL. Okay, so that's first thing. you have to make sure that you have a valid tax identification number. And if you are a sole proprietorship, meaning that you can still represent yourself, but maybe you're working as an independent contractor, you can use your social security number for the EIDL. Now, in most situations like that, say for example, I used to be a church musician, right? And I played piano lessons. I, gave piano lessons. So in that regard, I was paid through the church, with the 1099. So I could file that income under the Schedule C. And in the eyes of the IRS, that's considered a business. And that's separate from my W-2 income. See what I'm saying? So that's an example. Or if you're a sole proprietor, say if you are a barber, a cosmetologist, and you have self-employment income, in most cases you're going to file that under your social instead of an EIN. So that's another example of that. Okay, and second thing is eligibility based on size. And the two that, although there are several different points here, I've highlighted three that pertain to my clientele. The first one is, and I'm still on page 6, a business that together with affiliates has no more than 500 employees. None of my clients probably even have 20 employees, right? So most of my clients fit that role. And this is any of the criteria, not all of the criteria, but just even if you just have one, you qualify. An individual who operates as a sole proprietorship with or without employees or as an independent contractor and together with affiliates has no more than 500 employees. So again, if you are an LLC, if you have under 500 employees, you qualify. If you're a sole proprietorship, self-employed, you have less than 500 employees, you qualify. And also for my nonprofit clients, if you are a nonprofit organization that is a non-governmental agency and you have tax exemption under the 501c, D, or E, you do qualify for the EIDL. And most of the tax exempt organizations that I work with are either churches, charities, and especially in the state of Tennessee, are going to be charter schools, and in some cases private schools, depending on how they're. I don't think every private school is considered a tax exempt organization, but I do know for a fact that every charter school has to be filed as a 501c3 in the state of Tennessee. So if you qualify as a nonprofit, this is you as well. You can take advantage of the EIDL loan. Okay, and let me go to page 12. Oh, I forgot about this. Let's talk about who's not eligible, shall we? Who is not eligible? Y'all make sure to share. And I will make this video available on YouTube and to the email list. Who isn't eligible for this loan, shall we? Businesses who are not in operation on or before January 31st, 2020. Okay? But there is a teeny tiny clause on what's the definition of in operation. In operation includes businesses that were in an organizing stage but had not yet opened for business. Okay, so if you decided, like for me, for example, GIP Financials started as an organization in December of 2019. Got the EIN, filed with the Secretary of State, got my business license, all of that. But we didn't start making money until 2020, right? So therefore, according to the eligibility for the EIDL loan, GIP Financials qualifies to apply for this loan. So make sure that you understand that clearly. Okay? So even if you are an independent contractor, if you started those services before January 31st, 2020, you are good. If you were self-employed before January 31st, 2020, you are good. Okay? So just make sure that you honor that date. Okay, and please understand as well, because this is federal money, you will be required to provide documentation. Okay, and that was another thing that got a lot of people caught up. They were applying for this stuff at the beginning of the pandemic, and then when it was time to, pull their paperwork, they couldn't get it. Okay, who was that? Peanut, what's going on, Peanut? Chiefs, I see you, Chief. All right, so I think I got everybody there. That's the big thing. So just make sure that your business was in operation on or before January 31st, 2020. Okay. All right. And let's talk about the required documentation. So I did talk about that, right? So if you're going to be, and I can't stress this enough, y'all, this is federal money. So this is as serious as the IRS and filing your tax returns. So the benefit of having, government loans, although yes, they are cheaper, and these rates are just amazing. The repayment, the amortization is bananas, but you're gonna have to make sure that you have the proper documentation to make sure that you qualify for this funding. So the documentation that you're going to need is, you're going to need, based on when your business was in operation, your 2019 federal income taxes, your 2020 federal income taxes. You will also be required to complete the tax transcript form, there it is, 4506T. That'll be a part of the documentation. And we'll talk about the application process in a minute. Okay. And another part of the information that you will be required to submit is not only your government ID, but your profit and loss statement from the years of operation. Maybe 2019, 2020, might be both. Especially if you're applying or if you qualify for any of the advances, they're going to specifically ask for those numbers to check and see if you had any type of variance in your income, because that's part of the qualifications for those advances. Okay. And one thing I would like to make sure that I say, especially if you've applied for the PPP, you got to make sure that whatever information you put on the EIDL matches the PPP. And both of those applications must match the information that you put on your tax returns. Because remember, I told you guys, this is federal funding. Okay, and if they're asking for your tax transcripts, they're going to be checking to make sure that all your information is consistent. Okay, so make sure that you do that. All righty then, as Ace Ventura would say. And if you got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments so I'll see them at the bottom. So we talked about what the EIDL is, who's eligible. Now let's talk about the long term, shall we? Let me take a look at my Chick-fil-A, Arnold Palmer. Good stuff. All right. So let's talk about the long terms, shall we? And I'm on page 2. And the long terms for the EIDL are as follows. It is the interest rate. If you're a for-profit business, it's 3.75%. If you're a nonprofit, it's 2.75%. If you are awarded the loan, you do not have to pay on the loan until 2 years after the origination date. Okay, so that's a great thing, but hear me clearly. Although you don't have to pay until 2 years after, the interest rate will still accrue. Okay, so, and then also in that 2 years, if you want to go ahead and prepay or make payments on it, you're more than welcome to do that. Now, the loan term is 30 years, meaning that if you borrow, $100,000, it's kind of like a mortgage. So it's at 3.5% if you're a for business, and that those payments with the interest is going to be amortized for 30 years. I strongly discourage you to try. Don't wait the whole 30 years to pay this loan off. Go on, take care of it. All right, pay it off as quickly as you can. All right, but use that leverage, right? use that minimum payment. Sometimes you can pay, more. But if you get caught in a cash flow situation, at least you get that small payment as leverage, right? That's why we thank the Lord for the 30-year amortization. Amen and amen. All right. And depending on the amount of your loan, there will be collateral and personal guarantees required. So again, I'm on page 2 of the EIDL frequently asked questions. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Thank you for joining. All right. So if you qualify for $25,000 or less for the EIDL loan, there are no application fees, and there's no collateral nor personal guarantee. Okay. But there is a credit score that's required. Okay. For loans between $25,001 and I believe it's $500,000, there is a one-time $100 filing fee, and they're going to file something called a UCC1, and that is a lien that the lender, the SBA, will file against your business. Just God forbid, if you don't pay the loan, the SBA has the right to seize your business assets. We're not going to do that because we're going to be good and we're going to pay this loan, right? Right. Okay. And in that second tier, there will be collateral required, but that's why you got to file the UCC. And for any loan that's greater than $200,000, there will be a personal guarantee on that as well. So what that means is, if you default on that loan, you will be personally responsible, and they can also go after your personal assets as well as your business assets. Pay the loan. All right. And I believe, yes, that is pretty much the bulk of it. The maximum loan amount is $2 million. Okay, just saying. You get some big ball shot callers out there if you qualify for that. So when you apply for the loan and you put in your income from your business or from your sole proprietorship, they'll let you know at the bottom of the application how much you qualify for. Okay, so just FYI. And we go to page 4. All right. So as far as with the UCC1 lien, one more time, I'm just going to let you know what that is that the SBA has the right to seize your business assets if the loan isn't paid. Okay. And if you want more information about what the UCC1 lien is, the best information that I received was from the website valuepenguin.com. And it is a website. It's an affiliate of bankrate.com. And if you know bankrate.com, it's a very informational website on finances. Okay? So I'll make sure to put that information in the email of the replay as well. All right. So let's talk about underwriting. Let's talk about underwriting. So, of course, the underwriting is the paperwork that you're going to need once you are approved for the loan. So if you are approved for an EIDL loan of $500,000 or less for a for-profit business, remember I said a credit score was required, that's 570. So it's just like, dude, 570, let's go. All right. So it's very, very accessible. Okay. And the repayment ability for for-profit businesses will be determined by the owner's credit score. Just FYI. For loans greater than $500,000, a minimum credit score is required of 625. So we really ain't got no excuse. Let's just go and get this money, shall we? Okay. But you gotta be a good steward of it. All right. Good stuff. So of course, let's talk about what we can use this loan for. What can we use this loan for, shall we? Working capital to make regular payments for operating expenses, including payroll, rent or mortgage, utilities, and other ordinary business expenses, and to pay business debt incurred at any time, past, present, or future. Now, this last qualification of paying business debt, that was the newest edition. I think it was added. Don't count me on that. I think it was like around when the Biden administration came on the scene. It came up around that time, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and so let's talk a little bit more about the prepayment debt. I see you, Shawarda, right. Sign you up. So let's talk a little bit more about the prepayment of your business debt, because I think that's important to talk about, because I don't want y'all coming in here saying, I'm just finna go in here and just consolidate everything. It does not work like that. Hear me very clearly. I'm on page 3 of the FAQ sheet. Under section 2, what can you use the loan proceeds for? Regarding this debt consolidation and debt payoff, you can pay or prepay business non-federal debt. Okay, so what that means is, if you have an example of non-federal debt, if you have a credit card in the name of your business, right, you can use the EIDL. And just say, for example, if the business credit card is like 19%, right? You can use the EIDL to either make the monthly payments on it, or you can pay it off. It's kind of like a balance transfer, right? So you can use it for that. But it's non-federal. Okay? I'm going to say it again. Non-federal. That's what you can do this for. But if it's federal debt, you cannot use the EIDL to pay off federal debt. You can only use it to make monthly payments. So, for example, if you also received the PPP, say you didn't get the PPP forgiven, and you had to pay it, repay the loan, you can, if memory serves me correctly, the PPP loan, the interest rate may be 1%, but I think you get a repayment period of like 5 years. So year 5, if you're still paying on it, you can make you can make monthly payments on it with your EIDL loan, if that makes sense. You cannot say, I'm going to take this and transfer it over to the EIDL. You can't do that. You can only make monthly payments on it. Okay? So I'm just putting that out there so everybody is on one accord. Okay? And also, let me see. Borrowers with existing COVID EIDL loans are able to use any available loan proceeds on these authorized uses of proceeds. Listen here. But you may not use EIDL funds for expanding your business. So if you own a barbershop, you cannot use your EIDL funds to open up another location in another neighborhood. You cannot use these funds to go to scale. All right, this is page 4 at the top. You cannot use EIDL funding to pay off what they say, make prepayments on debt that is owed by a federal agency, including the SBA. I would also put the IRS in there as well. Because if you have, say if your business owes the IRS, you can't use the EIDL loan to pay it off. You can use the EIDL to make monthly payments on it. Okay? Or you cannot use the EIDL loan to make prepayments on debt that is owned by what they call SBIC, and that is an acronym for Small Business Investment Companies. I want to say that's kind of like crowdsource funding, stuff like that. Okay, but of course you can always Google what is a small business investment company, what that example of that is. Okay, and also you may not use the EIDL funding to start a new business. Okay, I know in the pandemic most of us had to pivot, right? but you can't run a barbershop and then use the EIDL loan for a food truck. Can't do it. Can't do it. Okay? So I just want to make sure that you guys are fully aware of what this is. So this is page 4 of the EIDL loan. Frequently asked questions. Who is that? Vision Board 901. Welcome. Hello. All right. So we're just talking a little bit about this EIDL thing. All right. And again, if you have not signed up for my email list, click the link in the bio. Click on the free training for the 3 mistakes small businesses make in their finances. If you provide me your email information, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. I'm not one of those people that just sends you stuff over and over and over again, like, what you doing, what you doing, what you doing. All the stuff I send you guys is very informational. It's either going to come straight from me, the IRS, or the SBA. Because I want to make sure the stuff that I send you, you're going to click on it and you can use it and apply it immediately. Okay? All right. So let's talk about, we talked about the loan proceeds and what we can and what we cannot do. And I hope you guys listen to me on that. So I won't be at that cutting up. All right. Loan increase. Can you ask for a loan increase? You actually can. Yes, you can. All right. So for the loan increase, if you want to, if you receive the EIDL loan, and oh, thank you, Schwartz, I appreciate that. If you receive the EIDL loan and you need an increase, there is information here on page 14, information that you can call. There's an email address and toll-free information for the SBA's Customer Service Center. Okay, and also, if you apply for the EIDL and you do not get it, you can also, you don't have to just take it, right? You can contact the SBA and they can walk you through why you didn't qualify and how you can qualify and what's documentation that they need and stuff like that. Okay, this FAQ sheet is about 19 pages. Yes, it's 19 pages long. So every question that you even think of is in here. Trust me. All right, so let's get to the good part. So we talked about the loan. Let's talk about these advances, shall we? And these advances are on page, and I didn't put the page number. It's on page 3. Page 3. So, as stated before, at the beginning of the EIDL, they did offer what they call grants, right? Amounts of money that you did not have to pay back. So, of course, with the EIDL, what they did the second time around is that instead of calling them grants, they call them advances. To where if you apply for the EIDL and your business is in a low-income area and you actually, during the pandemic, suffered a significant economic loss in your business, you qualify for additional funding that you do not have to repay. So we're going to talk about those two right now. Okay? And those two advances are the targeted advance and the supplemental advance. Like I said, this is page 3 of the FAQ. And the targeted EIDL advance, the qualifications for it are as follows. If you are located in a low-income community, have 300 or fewer employees, and suffered greater than 30% reduction in revenue, you will be eligible for up to $10,000 in non-repayable funding. Okay, who is that? Is that Mia? Hi, Mia. Hi, love. How you doing? Okay, so if you're trying to figure out the definition of the low-income area, what happens is once you apply for the EIDL loan, right, you go through that dashboard. Hey, Mia. In your email, probably within hours after you apply for the EIDL, the SBA will send you an email saying, hey, you may qualify for the targeted or the supplemental EIDL. They'll list the qualifications specifically just like it is outlined in this FAQ, and they'll give you the the chance to apply for those funds. And when you click on that link to apply for these advances, they're going to have like a little map to where you can put in the address of your business, and they'll let you know if that address, if that location is a low income area. And on my laptop, I don't know if the color changes, but it's a dark purple area. Most of it's like a tan color, but the low income areas are outlined in a dark purple. Okay. And the supplemental targeted advance qualifications are: if you are located in a low income community, have 10 or fewer employees, and you suffered greater than 50% of a reduction in your revenue, then you will be eligible for an additional $5,000 in non-repayable funding. Okay, so there's a possibility not only will you qualify for the EIDL, but you can also qualify for up to $15,000 in funding that you don't have to pay back. Okay, so that's why I tell anybody, just apply. You don't know what you qualify for, just apply and find out, right? So that's the information about the advances. Now, one thing I will say about the advanced applications, this is why that profit and loss statement is so important. The profit and loss statement, you can have that organized by like for the entire year or by the month. I suggest that you do it by the month, because on the advanced applications, they're going to ask you to list your monthly income. And if you can show that you made income this month, you didn't make as much this month, and you can show like variances, that strengthens your eligibility to get those advances. Okay. And if you need help organizing your profit and loss statement, that's what we're here for. Y'all see my polo? I got my little embroidered polo. I'm trying to represent GIP. You know what I'm saying? So if you need help with that, please reach out to me and we can help you with getting your information in QuickBooks, whipping up a good old P&L so you can have that information at your disposal. All right. Now, let me talk about what the application itself looks like. And so if you have any questions, you guys, again, put your questions in the comments. After this live is over, I'm going to download the video and put it on YouTube, all that good stuff. I'm going to send it to the email list first, because membership has its privileges, right? I learned a valuable lesson from my mentor, Pastor Sean Strickland. All right, so let's talk about the application. So if you received the FAQ from the email list, I also provided a link to the SBA's EIDL kind of page, right? And on that page, it has the link to the actual EIDL application. So when you click on that application, it's going to ask you for, like, you know, your personal information, your business information. It's going to ask you about 10 or 12 questions about, do you do things illegal? Are you, do you run a pawn shop? What's some of the other stuff? Are you a member of Congress? Is your business kind of like a payday loan, like financing company? Are you behind on child support? If you have filed bankruptcy, stuff like that. So just go through all that information. Then it's going to ask you for your business information again. If you are a sole proprietor, you'll put your social in. If you are a single member LLC, put your EIN information in there. Okay. And whatever information you put into this application, make sure that it matches your tax return. Okay. So for me, for GIP Financials, whatever information, the income that I put in the EIDL must match the information that I put on my 2020 tax returns. Why? Because when you get ready to submit your application, the SBA is going to ask you to sign a form authorizing them to pull your tax return transcripts. So that's why you got to remain consistent and have integrity. Okay. So once you fill out all that information and you put in there like they're going to ask you when your business was in operation. You're going to put in your income that you generated for 2019 or 2020. And at the bottom of that particular window, when you're putting in the income information, they'll let you know how much money you qualify for. And then you just keep going through the application. They're going to ask you to verify to make sure all the information you put in is true. And then once you do that, then they're going to give you access to what they call like the dashboard. Okay. And the dashboard on the top, I'm trying to think, on the top left is going to show the amount that you qualify for. It's going to be a little link that says click on there, and you can actually adjust how much you want to actually borrow. Right. Now, granted, when you get to the dashboard, that's not an approval, because you got other documentation that you have to sign and stuff you got to upload. Okay. So the first thing is you look at the amount that you qualify for, and you let them know either you're going to take the whole amount or you're going to take the partial amount. Because remember, like say if you qualify for like $300,000 and you don't want to have a personal guarantee, you can qualify for $25K. And there's no collateral, none of that stuff. The only thing is they will run your credit just to make sure that that you qualify for the fund and that you're able to repay it back. That's the first part. Underneath that, they're going to have like an identity verification. Those questions that they ask you based off of the stuff on your credit report. So they're going to ask you those questions to verify your identity. They're going to ask you to submit and upload your tax returns. And that was the other thing, the resolution document. So if you are not a sole proprietor, if you're an LLC, they're going to have some type of documentation to where it's just stating that your organization understands, or your entity understands what you're doing, and there's a common agreement. Now, if you're a single member LLC, it's just you, yourself, and yourself. So you just sign it based off of your business, and you're the owner, and you just submit it. It's no big deal. And then the last thing that you'll have to complete is the tax transcript form. And once you do all that, the little button up there where the qualifying amount is, it's going to say you're ready to submit your application. You click that little button, and then off you go. And then a couple of hours after that, then you will get the email about the two advances, the targeted and the supplemental advance, if you qualify for that. I know for me, my EIDL process, I got the first one because I own rental property. So that one took probably about, once I submitted the application, probably about maybe 2 weeks. Because part of that was on me because, I work a full-time job. So I, had to make sure that I was able to submit everything that I needed to submit. I just recently submitted the application for GIP. So, because to be honest, I thought I already did it, child. So, so I just went on ahead and submitted it for GIP Financial. So I'll definitely let you guys know the process and things that come up that I feel like will definitely be information that you need to know. One thing that I will say, I know a lot of businesses and business owners rather are kind of hesitant, about applying for loan. I don't want no loan and stuff like that. But one thing that I've had to be honest, I had to change my mindset about, and this was from the help of, my mentor, is that especially when it comes to business funding, it's all about leverage, right? We make money by using what they call other people's money, right? Naughty by nature, OPM, not OPP. But in order for you to do what you need to do for your business, it's better to have business funding, to have it and not need it, than need it and not have it. All right. So that's what I tell all of my clients, and especially for a lot of my clients that were really hesitant about the PPP. All of my clients that I just kind of like, it's okay, just apply. You never know what's going to happen. And especially once the Biden administration came on the scene and they authorized that 2-week window for mom and pops, I was getting all my clients, get it, let's go. And I will say all the ones that I've submitted applications for, they all received it and they all got their loans forgiven. Just like that. Now, granted, all their loans were I think the highest one was like $9,000. So, come on. I don't think the SBA is going to be simply chasing folks down about a $9,000 loan. And you got these other folks up here applying for $2 million loans. So, that's why I was trying to put it into perspective for my clients. Like, dude, just come on, let's get this free money. Right? What we talking? Right? So, that's why I want to make sure that I say to you guys, right? Maybe you got some 2022 goals that you want to accomplish, and maybe you might just need a little cushion, right? This is the money to do it. Do 3.75%. You don't have to pay on it for 2 years, and it's 3.75%. What we talking? You are not gonna get another deal like this from the government in quite a while. So like I said, especially with the EIDL, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Worst case scenario, you put it away, and if you realize you don't need it, just pay it back. What we're talking? Right? So I hope that this IG Live was informative for you guys. Again, if you are not on my email list, click the link in the bio. Sign up for the free training. You get to see a little YouTube video of your girl, giving you some more knowledge, right? And you will get access every link that we talked about tonight. I'm going to have it in the email list for you guys first thing in the morning. And if you have any questions, you can either put them in the comments or you can email me at info@gipfinancials.com. I also offer free consultations. In the link in the bio, you can also schedule a free consultation. If you're ready to move forward with the EIDL loan and you need some assistance for that, I got you on that as well. If you go to the link in the bio and you click on GIP services, you will see my information for loan and grant application assistance. It's an hourly rate. Okay, and I promise you it's going to be really, 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 really simple. Okay, so, and that's another one of the things. I don't want to get on my soapbox, but I feel like a lot of, and to be honest, all you can do is really respect the game, because if there are opportunists out there that were able to get people, because you got to think about it, people don't really want to do their own stuff anymore. They want convenience, right? And if they know somebody that's knowledgeable that can get them what they need, so be it. You might have to pay a pretty penny for it. When I tell you that people out here applying for EIDL loans for other people and we're getting as much as $5,000 when all they had to do was just get on the application for 5 or 10 minutes, have their documentation, and just apply for themselves. Yeah. But I've got integrity. I'm going to do nobody like that. I believe in reaping and sowing. So, sowing and reaping, all that. So, but yeah, just to let you know, just a lot of the stories that I've witnessed and also that I've heard. It's just, maybe I'll do another IG on that. But y'all, you don't have to do that. Get a professional that's going to help you do what you need to do, and also set the foundation in place for you and the fundamentals to do what you need to do and get your business moving forward. Okay, so I hope that this live was informational to you. Thank you guys for just hanging out with me. Share this. I don't know I'm not a big Instagram person, but I'm learning. That's why I put it on IG Live. So share it, tag people, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys hanging on here with me. So now I'm going to log off. And I'm finna go night-night because your girl's tired. All right. Thank y'all so much. God bless you. And again, as always, get in position. Peace, y'all. Child, how I turn this thing off?